I'm going to be straight with you. I love raised beds. I have been gardening in them for decades, and when they are done right, they are one of the best things you can do for your garden. But every single season, I see the same mistakes over and over again, and some of them are costing folks hundreds of dollars in an entire year of growing. The internet is full of pretty raised bed pictures that look great on a screen, but fall apart in the real world, and nobody is telling you what actually goes wrong. Well, I am. In this video, I am going to walk you through 9 raised bed blunders I see every single season, and more importantly, I am going to tell you exactly how to avoid them. Stick around for the bonus tip at the end too, because it is a cheap trick that will make any raised bed perform better, starting this weekend. Let us get into it. First up, and this is a big one, is building your beds too wide. I see this constantly. Somebody watches a video, gets excited, and builds a 4-foot wide bed right up against a fence or a wall. Now you have got a bed you cannot reach the back of without stepping in the soil or doing some kind of yoga move that no person over 55 should be attempting. Here is what actually works. If your bed is accessible from both sides, 4 feet wide is the maximum. If it is against a wall or fence, keep it to 2 feet wide. You need to reach every inch of that bed comfortably from the edge without leaning so far you throw your back out. I have seen beautiful beds that never get properly weeded or harvested because the gardener simply cannot reach the middle. Build for your body, not for the internet. The second blunder, and I cannot stress this enough, is using the wrong wood. I have watched folks build raised beds out of pine, untreated pallet wood, and even plywood, and then act surprised when the whole thing is rotting into the ground 2 years later. If you're going to invest the time and money into raised beds, use wood that lasts. Cedar and redwood are the gold standard because they are naturally rot resistant and they last 8 to 12 years without any treatment. If your budget is tight, 2-inch thick, untreated, rough-cut hemlock or Douglas fir will give you 4 to 6 years. Stay away from pressure-treated lumber that is not rated for ground contact, and railroad ties are a hard no. They leach creosote, and you do not want that anywhere near food you're going to eat. Spend the money on good wood once, and you will not be rebuilding next year. Next on the list is not giving your beds enough depth, and this one drives me crazy because it is so easy to get right. I see people build beds that are only 6 inches deep and then wonder why their carrots are stubby and their tomatoes look sad. Most vegetables need a minimum of 12 inches of soil depth to develop a proper root system. 18 inches is even better. And if you're growing root crops like carrots, potatoes, or beets, you want every bit of that depth. The deeper the bed, the more room roots have to reach down for water and nutrients, which means healthier plants and less watering on your end. My grandfather built his beds 18 inches tall, and at the time I thought it was overkill. It was not. Those beds outperformed everything else in the garden by a wide margin. If you're getting something out of this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I put out new videos every week with honest, no-nonsense gardening advice you can actually use. It is free, and it means you will not miss the next one. All right, let us get back to it. Coming in at number 4 is skipping drainage. And let me tell you why this matters more than most people think. If your raised bed is sitting on compacted clay or concrete and you have not done anything to address drainage, your plants are sitting in a bathtub after every heavy rain. Roots need oxygen just as much as they need water, and waterlogged soil will rot a root system faster than almost anything. If your bed sits on hard ground, lay down a layer of coarse gravel or wood chips at the bottom before filling with soil. If it is on concrete or a patio, drill drainage holes or use a layer of landscape fabric over hardware cloth at the base to let water escape. I have seen gorgeous raised beds full of dead plants because the water had nowhere to go. It takes 10 minutes to fix, and it saves your whole season. Number 5 is filling your beds with bad soil. And this is where I see folks waste the most money. They go to the big box store, buy 20 bags of whatever's cheapest, dump it in the bed, and end up with a dense, soggy mess that plants hate. Here is what actually works. Fill your beds with a mix of roughly 60% quality topsoil, 30% compost, and 10% coarse perlite or aged bark for drainage. If you're filling a large bed, Buy a bulk delivery from a local landscape supply instead of bagged soil. It is a fraction of the cost and usually better quality. The honest truth is your soil is the single most important investment in a raised bed. Cheap soil grows cheap vegetables. Spend your money here first, and you will see the difference in every single plant. Number 6 is overcrowding, and I have been guilty of this one myself, so I'm not throwing stones. When you have a beautiful raised bed full of rich soil, it is tempting to pack in as many plants as you can. But cramming tomatoes 12 inches apart or planting peppers shoulder to shoulder is a recipe for disease, poor airflow, and a harvest that is actually smaller than if you had planted fewer plants with proper spacing. Tomatoes need 3 feet. Peppers need 18 inches. Bush beans need 4 inches. Follow the spacing recommendations and trust the process. I know it looks bare at planting time, but give it 6 weeks and you will be glad you gave everything room to breathe. My grandfather used to say, a crowded garden is a sick garden, and he was right. Number 7 is ignoring sun placement, and this one breaks my heart, because it is the one mistake you cannot fix after the bed is built. I've seen people spend an entire weekend building a beautiful raised bed in the shadiest corner of their yard, because it was convenient, or because it looked nice there. Most vegetables need a minimum of 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight per day. Tomatoes, peppers, squash, and beans all want full sun. Before you build a single thing, spend 1 day watching where the sun hits your yard. Track it from morning to evening and pick the spot that gets the most light. If your only option gets less than 6 hours, stick with lettuce, spinach, kale, and herbs. Do not try to force sun-loving crops into the shade. It never works. Number 8 is skipping mulch, and this is the easiest fix on the entire list. A bare raised bed loses moisture twice as fast as a mulched one, and in the summer heat, that means you're watering constantly and your soil temperatures swinging wildly. 2 to 3 inches of straw, shredded leaves, or untreated wood chips on top of your bed after planting will hold moisture, regulate soil temperature, suppress weeds, and feed the soil as it breaks down. That is 4 jobs, handled by something you can get for free from your own yard. I mulch every single raised bed I own, and I have been doing it since my grandfather showed me the difference side by side when I was a kid. 1 bed mulched, 1 bed bare. The mulched bed won by a mile. There's no reason not to do this. The 9th blunder, and this is the one that sneaks up on people, is not amending your soil every year. Raised beds are not set it and forget it. Your plants are pulling nutrients out of that soil all season long, and if you do not put anything back, your yields will drop year after year. Every fall or early spring, I add 2 to 3 inches of quality compost to the top of every bed and lightly work it into the top few inches. That is it. No expensive fertilizers, no complicated soil tests unless something is clearly wrong. Just good compost every year, without fail. I have beds that are over 15 years old, and they produce better now than they did the first season because I have been feeding that soil consistently. The people who skip this step are the same ones telling me raised beds do not work. They work fine. The soil just needs to be fed. Now, if you take nothing else from this video, remember this. My grandfather taught me a trick that I still use on every raised bed I build, and it does not cost a dime. Before you fill your bed, lay down a thick layer of cardboard on the bottom, right on top of the grass or ground. It smothers the weeds underneath, it breaks down over a few months and feeds the soil, and it gives earthworms something to work on as they move up into your bed. Do not use glossy or heavily printed cardboard, just plain corrugated boxes. Overlap the pieces so there are no gaps, wet it down, and fill right on top. It is simple, it is free, and it has saved me hours of weeding every single season. And that is the honest truth about raised bed gardening. No fancy tricks, no gimmicks, just 9 mistakes to avoid, and the real-world solutions that actually work. If this helped you out, go ahead and subscribe. I put out new videos every week to help you grow better food and make fewer expensive mistakes. Take care, and I will catch you in the next one.